Welcome back. I'm Neil.
I'm Pat.
I'm Michael.
And this is the 411. We're covering everything in the football world. Just a couple guys in the basement, nothing better to do. Boys, how we feeling this week?
Unreal. I'm very excited. I'm doing great. I've been anticipating this all week. I'm ready. I got the energy.
You got the energy?
Michael, how are you?
2 words, no complaints.
No complaints? Me too.
Just love it.
Me
nothing,
too.
No complaints.
Right?
Nothing
No
wrong.
complaints. Nothing wrong.
Beautiful.
Ready to go. Excited.
Awesome.
So quick outline for the day. So we're gonna start off just like we did last week. Q&A. 2 from Pat. I'm gonna do an A and B. We're gonna hop right into fantasy start and sit-ems. We have a few new segments. A few of those are we're gonna do a lock, an underdog, and then our usual game of the week. We're also gonna do in and out. So we're really starting to get into the dog days of the season. Who's in and who's out of the playoffs, and everyone's analysis on that. We're hopping into the Patriots versus Eagles matchup, what the Pats need to do to get this win this week, as well as our top 3 segment, and then Michael's going to finish off with 2-minute warning. So, Pat, take it away.
Let's hop right into it, boys. All right.
Let's go.
All right, so question 1, Q&A. Hands for feet or feet for hands? Think about this. Hands for feet.
Hands for feet.
Because feet for hands, you'd be like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
hands
hands
for
for
feet.
feet.
Does that mean that you have 2 sets of hands?
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
hands for feet.
Okay.
Okay, I respect that.
Yeah.
Question 2. Get tackled full speed by Jadeveon Clowney
Yikes.
or take a Ronaldo free kick to the face?
Clowney.
I think we'll take Ronaldo, dude.
Yeah, I think I'm taking Ronaldo.
Like,
not.
because that's just to the face. You got a whole body from Clowney.
Yeah, that's fine, but
Yeah, but-
it's your face. It's mostly like.
Yeah, but I've also had like 4 concussions. So like I don't know how the Ronaldo kick would do to me.
All right, A and B.
A and B, let's do
A
it,
and
man.
B.
Awesome. Let's get right into it.
All right, so A and B this week. So I'm on the way home from school the other day with my dad.
Yep.
And I see a billboard of Steven Gostkowski. He's like sponsoring Hasbro now.
Good for him.
And I made a comment about him only being on IR because they just want to get rid of him. And my dad's like, yeah, like Cam Newton. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, there's no way. And he's like, dude, I read an article that they put him on IR to get rid of him. And I did some research. I kind of went off on him. And he said, yeah, that he just read an article about this, and that a ton of other teams have interest in him, and that Carolina might even pay off half his contract. So let's say he has like $50 million on his contract. They may give him to another team and say, hey, I'll pay half. I'll pay the $25 million just to give him to you. Question: would Cam be a better fit? A, on the Bears replacing Trubisky, or B, on the Broncos replacing Flacco? Both teams have showed interest in him.
Let me think about this.
Okay.
Michael, you give your analysis
This
first.
is a relatively new. This is
you
a
say
very
yours
new
first. I'm
thing.
gonna think about this.
This is the Bears, right?
This is the Bears. A is the Bears replacing Trubisky.
So the only thing I'm thinking of right now is the defense that the Bears have. The defense is not the problem at all. I don't think anybody's debating that. I don't think the defense is the problem. It's all the offense. It's all on Trubisky. I think that it's not Trubisky. He doesn't have any weapons. It's
Trubisky has some weapons.
besides Allen Robinson.
He's got the running game.
Montgomery,
Montgomery's not doing
Tariq
awful.
Playing. I mean,
Yeah.
he doesn't have as much as like some other quarterbacks. And given that he was the 2nd overall pick,
Right.
he should be playing a little bit better.
I'm gonna go here. Here's why. No question that it's the Broncos, correct?
Yep.
The Broncos defense is not what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Went back in, 2015 when they won the Super Bowl? So think about it like that, right? Obviously not what it used to be, so they need a boost in their offense. When Cam played, when he was still the starter, he had the security blanket in Christian McCaffrey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they started out the season 0-2.
Right.
With Newton at quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
Meaning that I don't think that he's good anymore. I think he's on the decline.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
absolutely on the line.
I
He
don't
had
think-
one.
that's
He
no
had one
question.
flash in the pan season.
6 seasons.
Like a lot of
No, he had a few. He had an MVP season. He had a few seasons that were very
That was
solid
his, like-
seasons.
Right. So I mean, I only relate that because I think of not that they're comparable in skill, but I think of Philip Lindsay, dude. He would have Philip Lindsay. Philip Lindsay's a stud, dude. He's such a sleeper for dude. He's a
Stud?
he's a maybe not a stud. He's a sleeper, dude. He's a solid
agree.
player. You said it a
He's
couple
a solid player.
You said it a couple podcasts ago, dude. Good running backs are a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Not stud. I never said stud.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I'm just saying that I think with the security blanket of him, I think he might be a little more comfortable, just like
Definitely.
he was when he had McCaffrey backing him.
But what about the two-headed monster in Chicago with Montgomery and Tariq Cohen that's emerging? Two
Right.
young guys.
Less of an
flashy.
extent
Less of an extent.
to other teams such as like the 49ers.
Yeah,
Breda
but the
and
question isn't does
Coleman.
Cam Newton go to the 49ers? It's the
That's true.
Bears or the Broncos.
That's true.
You're right.
You know?
Yeah, I got the
Okay.
All
right, so we're gonna hop right into
Broncos on this one.
fantasy. Pat, you can do your starting first.
I'm gonna
Go
get
for
right
it.
into it. So it's funny that we were just talking about that. My first start is actually Kyle Allen this week at quarterback. So we all saw the game that Kyle Allen played in Lambeau, snow game against the Packers. The dude looked cool.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
no pun intended. The dude
Yeah.
looked. It was freezing. The dude looked
Yeah.
ice, absolute ice. He threw for 307 yards, and he's gone from 158, 232, and 307 passing yards in the last 3 games. He's trending up, and I think it's safe to say that the Falcons won't repeat their freak defensive feat against the Packers. I think Allen's a safe start.
Yeah.
Neil?
All right, so I have Marquise Brown.
I
this
don't know
week.
if safe is
Oh.
the right word, if I'm
Oh.
being honest.
Oh.
I just think that I'm looking at his stats right now. He has 7 starts, only one of them over 300 yards. It came last week against the Packers, and it was only by 7 yards.
But he's on the incline.
Yeah, but 261, 232, 181, 227, 158. Those just aren't
And the
good
more
numbers.
comfortable he gets
And
with
then after
Moore.
158, what happens
Yeah,
then?
no,
232, 307.
232 is not that great.
It's not fantastic. I'm just saying 307 is
18
pretty damn
fantasy
good, dude.
points
If you're
is not
breaking
that
if
good
you're breaking
for a
three
quarterback.
if you're breaking 300 yards,
And he still only had 18
and they're also playing
points.
the Falcons, who are playing cheeks this year.
Yeah.
I'll count him as a 100% start.
Their
Yeah.
offense has been like top 10. It's the defense.
Absolutely.
It's just been awful.
Neil, you want to take
Okay.
it?
Yeah. So I have Marquise Brown. I actually have him on my fantasy team. Definitely starting this week. Caught all of his four targets last week for receptions versus the Bengals. 80 total yards on touchdown, and he was only on the field for 40% of the offensive snaps,
Yeesh.
and got that much. I like him again this week at home against Houston. They've allowed the 4th most fantasy points as well as 8 touchdowns to opposing wideouts this season, especially because they usually target him on wide routes, so he's usually outside curl, and that's really where they excel.
I see that. All right, awesome. Mike, start him.
So for my first start, I have Jared Cook. For pretty big reason.
I like that start.
Austin Hooper is now down with an injury. He's
Yep.
gonna be out for at the very least this week. It could be as much as a month. I think Dan Quinn has kind of hinted at more of a month range. Jared Cook, he's the second option of the offense. That's crazy to say.
Yeah.
But Jared Cook, the tight end for New Orleans, is the second option in that offense. And he is facing the Buccaneers, who are the second worst defense against tight ends. They give 18 points per game. He's actually, fantasy points wise, he has 6th in fantasy points among tight ends in the last 4 games that he's played.
Yep.
And the Buccaneers defense is 2nd or 3rd. This is the craziest stat I think I've ever heard. They're the 2nd or 3rd worst in every single statistical category against tight ends.
The Bucks suck.
Except for average yards per catch. But every other one, they're either 2nd or 3rd worst.
Interesting.
That includes targets, catches, yards, touchdowns, fantasy points, everything.
Yep.
He had 10 targets last week, which was just less than Michael Thomas, but nobody's going to ellipse Michael Thomas.
Right.
So he still carved out a role in the offense's pass set earlier against that freakish, Falcons defense that didn't even allow a touchdown to the Saints.
Crazy.
I started Drew Brees in fantasy,
Right.
which really stinks. But yeah, 10 targets, 2nd to Michael Thomas. I just think if he's on your waivers, but you doubt it, but if he's there, I'd give him a look.
I like that. It's all about, you got to think about tight ends today in fantasy, and you got to think what tight ends are consistently putting up 20 points every game.
20?
It's like, exactly. It's like Kelsey.
Yeah.
It's
even that.
dude,
Kelsey puts up some eggs.
Gerald
sometimes.
Everett is also coming up for the Rams.
All I'm saying, dude, is that sick tight ends with consistent numbers in fantasy
Very
are
hard to come by.
not
Oh
common.
my god!
So when you
Travis
look at
Kelsey has only been over 20
right,
twice this year.
so when
That's
you
in
look
10
at
weeks.
12, 14, injury 13, that's some consistency numbers that you like to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hop into my sit 'em?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so my sit 'em is going to be Jared Goff at quarterback. No doubt about this. Goff, he's a shell of a quarterback of what he used to be.
Yep.
The Rams in general are on a complete Super
And it's
Bowl.
really crazy to think about. Like last year, he was top of his game.
Crazy.
And now people
Right.
are debating whether to send him. And that's
Right.
not even like an over exaggeration. I mean,
Right.
he
Yeah.
is being debated as if the Ravens, if the Rams should go in a different direction at quarterback, just given how much talent they have on our team. Getting Jalen Ramsey and
Right.
How many wins?
Oh,
they've
they
had
got the
since I don't even
tools
understand
now.
that.
Absolutely.
They have great weapons, and like it just seems right now the offensive line and Goff are kind of keeping them back a little bit. And
Absolutely.
I think Gurley's lingering injury also. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
How are you?
So the Bears defense have only let 14.3 points to quarterbacks average for single callers. He's averaged 1 touchdown per game, which is not impressive. He's gone and of course, when I say this, people might question like, you said it before. He's the shell of a quarterback. Why would you? It's not surprising to sit him. People who play fantasy, and I'm guilty of this, and I'm sure you guys are too, chase numbers. They see, and I'm guilty of it. They
1000%.
see numbers,
1000%.
and they say, "Ooh, maybe this will happen again." When you look at 28, 29, and 33 next to each other, look, he laid the egg. I'm aware of that. But when you see those numbers next to each other, it's tempting. And if you have a quarterback on a bye, it's tempting. So I know, and it's about the consistency in the pass. You
Russell
like
Wilson
that.
on a bye. Rodgers on a bye.
Don't
Yeah.
buy it. Strong defense. He's 100% a sit for me.
Yep.
Neil?
So I kind of have a new sit-em. Typically we do players. This is a defense. I'm saying sit the Ravens defense versus the Texans.
Okay. Okay.
Houston's off a bye. Texans are going to take this one. My prediction is 41-38 on a Justin Tucker missed field goal.
Dude, so many missed field goals this year. Crazy, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really think Watson Hopkins are going to succeed in defeating Ravens pass defense, as well as the fact that this is going to be a battle of the quarterbacks. Very high scoring.
100%.
I cannot wait for this game.
It's going to be a good
It's
game.
gonna be so much fun.
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right, so I've been hyping this cinema
Yeah.
basically all week. I said to them,
Oh, it's going to be a big sit
it's gonna blow you out of the water.
Wow.
I don't know.
I have any Rams receiver. I am sitting all of them. That's including Cooper Kupp.
So it's not even a sit. It's any Rams receiver.
Every single receiver on the Rams, I am saying to sit him. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks. Cooks is out with an injury. Just want to, put that out there. So basically, you're sitting Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. Mostly it's Cooper Kupp. The Bears defense only allows 135 receiving yards per game.
They have a sick defense. No doubt about that.
That's to all receivers. 135 yards. That's not a lot. That's sixth in the NFL. They are third in touchdowns per game allowed, fifth in fantasy points allowed, and that's all to receivers.
Mhm.
Kupp went without a catch last week.
Crazy.
0.
I literally looked at that. It was in one of my fantasy leagues, and I looked at it, and I was like, "Oh my god,
Is he injured?
I literally thought,
Yeah.
is he
No,
injured?
they just double teamed the whole game.
4 targets.
Crazy.
4 targets, 0 catches.
Crazy.
Unreal. So the defense bottled him up just by focusing on him. So why wouldn't the Bears just do that again? I know it's a tall order. It's not, it's easier said than done. But just look at the tape, see what they did,
Right.
and just, repeat it.
And of course, you're right. It's easier said than done, but I mean, they proved it's doable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that. I like
But
that
I
a lot.
also want to add, I think Gerald Everett, more to, you said he's kind of on the rise. I think he might have a big game because Bears are allowing 68 yards per game to the tight ends, which might not sound like a lot, but it's third worst in the NFL. That just tells you how poorly tight ends are really played this year.
Crazy.
So, I think Gerald Everett, given, the injury to Brandon Cooks and just, I don't think Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are going to have good games. I think Gerald Everett might be, in line to
I
have
like
a
that
big one, but
I
analysis.
disagree.
Yeah.
I think Kupp's gonna have a game this week.
No way.
I think so.
I don't think so.
It's the Bears defense. Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
I think just the fact that he was double teamed last week is gonna piss him off so much, and the fact he
Yeah,
got
but
Motivation,
what are you gonna
dude.
do about that?
Sure. But every
it's game plan.
every
That's
NFL
like Drew
quarterback
Brees
works
come
as
back
hard
after
as
last
they
week
can.
after putting up 9 points to the Falcons. That's like
Oh yeah, but he's a quarterback, he's not a wide receiver.
Right.
it's the motivation though.
All right, how about this? Over or under 12 points for Kupp this week. PPR.
Under.
Over or under. Under
Under.
12.
Under, but like
You
11.
were just preaching.
But like
on.
11.
Okay.
He won't have a stinker,
I still
but
think
he won't be like.
for Cooper Kupp, I still think 11 is to set him. Just given his numbers this year.
I like that.
Which actually, I'm gonna rattle them off just because I'm speaking really poorly.
Very
of Kupp.
low end wide receiver 2 maybe a flex.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
I just wouldn't automatically
the
sit.
numbers are
Cup.
big. I'm not gonna lie. In his last,
Yeah, it's like you
5
said before,
games,
tempting.
he's had 0, 42, 11, 5, and 29. Given he had 30 and 36 before that too. But I say sit him. I don't know why. He could go off for 30 this week, but in my leagues, I am sitting him.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna hop into my locks.
Yep.
So lock is a team that is projected to win the spread, and you just think blowout. So my team is going to be Bills versus Dolphins. Bills are a 17-point favorite in this game. I got the Mafia taking this one and fast.
Yeah.
Neil?
Completely agree. Do I hop into my lock?
Yeah, hop in your lock,
All right,
man.
let's do it. So, Raiders over Bengals. Spread is 10.5.
Oh.
Yeah, that's tough.
Poor Bengals.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Josh Jacobs absolutely gonna have an absolute day
Good
and
call.
predicting at least 150 yards. Bengals defense also gives up 5.2 yards per carry and 173 rushing yards on average per game.
Jeez,
On the ground.
5 yards per carry.
Yeah, to opposing offenses this season. Absolute no-brainer.
All right.
Go for it.
49ers over Cardinals.
What's the spread?
11 and a half.
That's so
49ers are favorites on the road. So, I just think 49ers pissed off because last week,
Absolutely.
you're playing the whole motivation card.
Mhm.
I'll play the motivation
Absolutely.
card.
Side
for the
note,
49ers.
what a great game.
Really
Yeah.
was.
Great game.
That was a yeah.
I think I would go as far as say if Robbie Gould is healthy, the kicker who their replacement kicker missed the field goal in overtime. If Robbie Gould is healthy, I think Robbie Gould kicks it through the uprights. 49ers win.
I love that.
I think it's a completely different narrative now that
Absolutely.
the 49ers will be 9-0.
100%. So again.
Go for your underdog.
Yeah, go for
Yeah,
it.
all right, yeah.
Start off.
So I have the Texans over the Ravens. Ravens are 4.5-point favorites over the Texans.
I like that.
You said earlier it's gonna be a battle of the quarterbacks.
Mhm.
I just think it's also gonna be a battle of experience.
Mhm.
And Deshaun Watson, undefeated in November. In his career, he's undefeated in the month of November.
Right, but how long has he been playing? I don't know.
Fair.
Right, so I don't know how impressive those numbers are if he's only played 3 years. First of all,
It's
December is where
12 games.
100%. In December is where it matters. I'm just saying that only 3 years.
12 games. He's 12-0 in the month of November. Or like,
You know what?
actually, I think he's
You're right.
12-0,
At
he
least
might be 10-11.
superstition-wise.
You're right. I'm with you.
I don't know the
Continue with
exact
that.
stat. I would think he's 10-0 around there. That's
I like that.
It's kind of
Yeah.
insane.
All right.
Lamar Jackson, he's great.
He's
Don't
you're
get me
absolutely
wrong. I don't have much analysis over it. I just think Texans are really going to beat the Ravens.
I like it. Can I hop into my underdog?
Go
So
for
my
it.
underdog is going to be Bears versus Rams. I got the Bears in this one. The spread for the Rams is a 6.5 favorite for the Rams. Goff, as we've talked about, is in a slump. I think the fan presence in LA will sort of be there. With the running presence in Chicago, it's going to take some pressure off of Trubisky, I think, who is quite obviously not having a fantastic season.
Not a lot.
Who, of course, he's just
Which
not
you can
doing.
debate, should they sign Cam Newton?
It's
Who said
full
he would
circle.
be extremely open to
Absolutely. It's a full circle. So I got the Bears 28-24 in an absolute nail biter.
24.
All right.
Neil?
I have Broncos over Vikings.
Mhm.
Spread is 10.5.
Yep.
Predicts the Vikings winning at home.
Broncos over Vikings,
Mhm.
huh?
Broncos defense is going to shut down Cousins. Broncos defense has allowed fewer than 10.4 fantasy points and an average of 227 passing yards to quarterbacks while on the road.
That's impressive.
Mhm.
I like
Here's
that.
the thing, though. Kirk Cousins beats up awful teams.
That's a fact.
Broncos 3-6.
Right.
Kind of an awful team.
Yeah,
If history repeats, might be looking at a Vikings blowout.
Perhaps.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't think
It
so.
should be an
I think
interesting-
Broncos take this one.
I'm going to hop
All right.
into games of the week.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
So, game of the week, Texans-Ravens. No doubt about
Absolutely.
it. Texans-Ravens is going to be the best game of the week. No question. It's going to be a shootout. You got Jackson Watson, 2 mobile gunslingers. You compare. And when I have a hard decision to make, I always make like a pros cons list. I always compare and contrast, and whatever the deficit is where my decision comes from. Quarterbacks. Watson is Jackson I think is playing better right now, but not a huge difference.
I
So
still take Watson.
yeah,
I still take Watson.
I think
Jackson.
as of right, I think overall Watson right now I take
Because
Jackson.
if you look
Me
at
too.
you can
Yep.
kind of plug Watson into any offense.
You're right. I think there's
because
some truth
not
to it.
Yeah,
any, but like if you give him an offensive line and you give him like a weapon or two, Watson can thrive. Lamar Jackson kind of needs like an offense for himself. Like
Right.
if you look at his offense, it's designed for his play style. He has 3 tight end sets. They've run. There was some stat like, I don't remember it exactly, but like teams have run out of the pistol like the highest or second highest like 7%. The Ravens run out of it like 55% of the year,
Right.
or 55% of the time. So like, they a lot of the play style is organized or kind of set up for Lamar Jackson,
Right.
And I think I would rather have Deshaun Watson if I were like starting a franchise, or
So, and then I think receivers, not a huge deficit. You know what I mean?
DeAndre Hopkins.
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, but dude, Hollywood Brown, he's playing pretty
Are
well.
you comparing Hollywood?
Not at all. I'm just saying that they're not. It's not a crazy
Yes,
like.
it is. It is a
boom.
Yes, it is.
Talent-wise, maybe statistically, not at all.
Not at all, dude.
What are you talking about?
Talent-wise, maybe statistically at all. But for me, it comes down to two
hold
things.
Hold on.
For me, it comes down to two things. The
Maybe.
running.
I think as of right now,
Marquise Brown has 1 game over 100 yards. DeAndre Hopkins, I don't even know why I'm looking up these stats. I just know Hopkins
that's
is better.
fine. You traded away Hopkins, and then he did terrible
Hopkins
for like
has
4
three.
weeks.
I'm just
He
saying it's
didn't
not.
even do terrible. He did Hopkins terrible.
I'm just saying it's not a crazy deficit.
He didn't do
it's not something
McCaffrey
that,
fantastic.
It's not something because I'm comparing it like who's going to win this game. So when I look at that, I say maybe the Texans have a better passing game. Who has the better running game? I mean that kind of evens that out. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it comes down for me to the running game and the secondary. Of course, Lamar and Ingram dominant all year, and the secondary with Marcus Peters, who has been a machine. I think the Texans are going to make a really big mistake, similar to when Edelman. I think what changed the pace of that Ravens-Patriots game was when Edelman fumbled that ball.
Exactly.
I think the Pats could have won that game if he didn't fumble it. I think there's going to be a mistake to change the game. Ravens win 30-28.
I couldn't agree more with the Edelman thing.
Yep.
I think.
Neil, you want to take it?
I got
First game of the week?
So, Buccaneers Saints for me. Coming off devastating loss to Falcons last week.
Yeah.
Like I said before, Drew Brees gonna be itching for revenge. He's gonna hit Michael Thomas a lot this week. Although Winston will be hitting Mike Evans and Chris Godwin a lot this week as well. With
That's a very underrated duo
Saints,
right there.
It is an underrated duo.
It is.
Mike
Very.
Evans and Chris Godwin. I mean, that's pretty good.
Very.
And then also Marshawn Lattimore out this week. So if you're thinking about starting the Saints defense, might want to take that one in consideration.
So who you got?
I got Saints.
Saints?
Absolutely.
All right.
I don't know how you can't. The only thing that scares me is just like Saints going down the line. Michael Thomas. I know I said something about Jared Cook. Michael Thomas is their only like star receiver.
I agree.
Besides him, their number 2. Do you know who it is? Who their number 2 receiver is?
I don't even know his name.
Ted Ginn.
Yeah, random.
Ted Ginn on some
yeah.
teams would be a
Ex-Panther,
special
yeah.
teams player.
Right. 100%.
He's not your number 2 receiver.
Yeah, he's not a number 2.
You know, and I think down the line that could really kill him.
I'm with
Because
that.
if you look at history, you look at the history of winners of just Super Bowl winners, they don't have star receivers. You know, look at the Patriots. Did they have a star receiver last year? Like a DeAndre Hopkins or Michael Thomas? No. Edelman was their best guy. I'm not saying Edelman isn't good, but he's their best guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you look at the year before that, who the Eagles have. Like Alshon Jeffrey.
Right.
You know? I mean, it's... Star receivers don't win you Super Bowls.
Right.
They win you highlights. And I think that's really going to kind of kill the Saints down the line.
Yeah.
You want to hop into game of the
Yeah,
week?
go for it.
Yes,
Good
I
week.
have the Bears versus the Rams. The Rams are favored by 6.5, which I think is a lot.
I have that
know it's
too.
at home. I still think it's a lot, just given how the Rams have trended down, along with the Bears also trending down.
So who do you have, the Bears or the Rams?
I have the Bears.
Bears?
The
Same here.
Rams have a lot of injuries. Todd Gurley did not participate in practice. Cooper Kupp did not participate. Gerald Everett did not participate. Brandon Cooks out. Rob Havenstein, their right tackle, out. They literally have no healthy players on offense. Like,
The Bears-
wide receivers, weapons.
The Bears got to make a move for the playoffs soon.
Yeah.
Which I think we could transition into in and out to talk about
Absolutely.
what we got going on there. Neil?
So I will start off in and out. My in Carolina.
I'm so excited for In and Out.
I love
This
it.
new
Me too.
segment.
Yeah.
It makes me so happy.
Awesome.
Dude.
Lost last week to the Packers was huge. Dropped their overall record to 5-4, and also dropped their chance of making the playoffs to only 18%. Right now they're in contention with the Eagles and the Rams, who are also 5-4. I think the Kyle Allen DJ Moore chemistry will continue to go stronger, especially with Cam Newton on IR, as mentioned before, as well as McCaffrey having potentially one of the best seasons of his life. In order to get into the playoffs, they need to win the next 4 straight. They're playing Falcons, Saints, Redskins, and then the Falcons again. It's a possible 4-game win streak.
3-1. Saints, yeah, I would say 3-1.
Okay.
Falcons twice and who was it? Buccaneers.
Bucks, yeah.
Yeah, I say 3-1. I think they lose to the Saints, beat the other 3.
So I mean, I can I hop into my in?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
So I did something kind of weird. I don't have it in and out. I'm just comparing 2 teams because I feel like these teams are pretty comparable to each other in where they are right now.
Okay.
It's the Cowboys and the Vikings.
Yep.
They're not in the same division. I just feel like it's a really interesting comparison. I think last Sunday's game versus the Vikings was such an important game to compare that. When you're trying to win, and you're 5-4, and you're trying to make it to the playoffs, consistency is key. You can't afford shit losses.
Yeah.
Like the shit losses to, the Jets.
Yeah.
Okay? You can't do that late in the season. A team like the Patriots can still make that. You gotta think, a perfect example is when the Pats lost. Remember last year, the Titans?
Yep.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Weirdly, they can
The
afford...
Lions week 2.
They can afford those losses. Like, if right now, they can afford a shitty loss and still make it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Cowboys are not a team that
I
can
don't
do
know.
that.
There's teams like right on the brink.
They need
They just can't.
all I'm saying is that they need every win they can get, and it's about consistency for me. Well, it appears that the names of the Cowboys' defense is better. The Vikings are more consistent this year, and it's what the consistency is about. Vikings 29 sacks to the Cowboys 22. Vikings 9 interceptions to the Cowboys 4. And if you can't say, and I quote, the Dallas Cowboys offense and defense is going to do consistently week in and week out, that's a huge problem.
I don't think you can.
Exactly, you can't. And Zimmer has shown time and time again that he's a better coach than Garrett. I'm sorry. And look,
How did I don't know. I don't know how Jason Garrett won Coach of the Year in
I don't know.
2015.
And you scratch
Yeah, I
that.
don't know.
Garrett has shown that he's a worse coach in this way. If you look back in the past 3 seasons, he's went 8-8 and lost to each division team in week 17. He's 0-3. Against division teams when they need it against division teams, and it's been relatively close in that division for the past 3 years. So late in the season, when they need to get it done, week 17 against a division rival, they can't.
You can't get it
Yeah.
done.
They can't. I don't see it. So that's when you need to be at the peak of your talent. If you go back to who's the common denominator, of course, for the Vikings, it's Cook. Cook's a stud. They have all the tools even without Cook. Diggs, 759 yards this year for 4 touchdowns. Thielen, 391 yards for 6
And
touchdowns.
Thielen's been injured. He hasn't been healthy at all.
Crazy. And if we want to dive into quarterbacks, I'm not going to argue. I believe that both of these quarterbacks extremely overrated. There's no arguing that. And as much as
Dak Prescott going into the next season might be the most paid player in the NFL.
crazy.
Yeah.
And as much as I don't think that Cousins is per se the answer in Minnesota, look at the numbers. Cousins 3 interception to Dak's 9. They both scored 18 passing touchdowns this year, which makes them comparable. But you got to think about what the Cowboys offensive line is and what the Vikings offensive line is.
Yeah.
Let's
Cowboys.
compare those. I think it's really impressive for Cousins. As much as I don't think is the answer, Dak sacks 11, Kirk sacks 17. So the fact that the touchdown ratio is comparable with Dak's offensive line and Kirk's offensive line, it's crazy that they're the same. So when it comes down to the 2 teams who are both on the cusp of a playoff berth, I see the Vikings as being more successful. I really do.
I think the best stat you really showed was 0-3 in the last
3 weeks.
They're not getting it done.
Week 17 in the last 3 years.
And it's not even that, just like the Cowboys. I hope they do well. They just haven't.
Yeah.
They haven't. Mike, you want to dive into your
Yeah, go for it.
in and out?
Yeah. Oh wow, I was so much on
Go
this.
for it, man.
All right, so I have the Raiders, the Oakland Raiders. I have just 2 words. Why not? Why not the Raiders? They're second in their division at 5-4, 1 game back in the Chiefs who are 6-4. Chargers are 4-6 in third. Broncos rounding out at 3-6. I don't see the Chargers turning around anytime soon. I think Phillip Rivers is past his prime, and last year was kind of his, great season, and he's kind of, come back to earth this year, not playing that well. The Raiders are 4-1 at home. They're 5-4 in total. But 4 out of the 5 losses have come at home. Wins have come at home. They have an extremely easy schedule coming up. They got the Bengals, Jets, Broncos, Jaguars, and Derek Carr is playing some of the best ball of his career. He doesn't have insane numbers, but he has middle of the pack passing yards, 16th. He's 13th in touchdowns, but he's 6th in rating and 8th in QBR. He's 2nd in completion percentage to Drew Brees, who's only played 3 full games. So if you're asking me, Derek Carr's 9 complete games to Brees' 3, I would pick Carr in completion percentage.
Yeah.
He has 4 picks on the year, which is top 10 in the league, and this offense is playing unreal right now. They've only given up, or the offensive line is playing unreal.
Absolutely.
They've only given up 12 sacks, which for quarterbacks who have played 8 or more games this year is fourth best. I would also like to add that Josh Jacobs, as you said before, has ran for 381 yards over the last 4 weeks, which is third in the NFL over that span.
I really think they surprised everybody, the
Yeah.
Raiders. After Brown left,
After Brown left,
they're going to be terrible. Brown was like their glimpse of hope, and it was gone. And you know what? They rallied, man.
It
I
was a
respect
glimpse
them.
of Hollywood. You know?
Absolutely.
Hit John Gruden and Tony Brown. But my only downside, the defense has got to buckle down.
Absolutely.
They've given up the third most passing yards per game in the NFL, but surprisingly is 10th least in rushing yards per game.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's odd.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, they're allowing a little more than 26 points per game, which is sixth worst in the NFL.
Right.
Yeah.
So I still think the Raiders are in just because of how well Derek Carr is playing right now. And if he keeps it up, which is a big if, I'm not going to debate that. It's a huge if, given Derek Carr's,
He's not a guarantee.
Yeah, he's not. But I think he's kind of in the same department as like Matthew Stafford. If is he gonna keep it up?
I would agree with that.
But if he does, this Raiders team could be a very strong wild card. Just given how strong their offense is, even though they don't have like big named guys. I mean, the number one receiver is Tyrell Williams.
Right.
You know, he's been injured for a while, but he's not a big name guy. But their offense has been playing well. So that's why I think the Raiders could be.
Do you want to start out? Who think's out?
All right. Yeah, I'll take the out. I think the Bills are out.
Okay.
Bills are
Hold
second.
on. Hey, do you have an out? You didn't do it an out. You just did a comparison?
Yeah.
All right.
Vikings
continue
are my out.
So yeah, I think the Bills are out, which could kind of come as a surprise, given that they're 6-3,
They're 6-3, yeah.
second in their division, but the Pats are running away with it.
But the Bills
8-1.
could easily, I think, beat the Raiders in a wild card.
I don't know, man. There are just
They
so many.
could,
There are so
but-
many
but-
possible
But
teams.
let me dive into this. They're in the same boat as the Patriots. They've beaten up bad teams like the Jets, Giants, Bengals, Dolphins, Redskins.
Mhm.
All 5 of those teams have a combined record of 7 wins and 39 losses.
Yeah,
7
that's
and 39.
nuts.
The Jets, Giants, Bengals, Dolphins, Redskins. 7 and 39. The offense is the Bills' offense non-existent.
Yeah.
24th in passing yards, 23rd in total offense. The 7 out of the 9 teams below below them have losing records in the total offense, 23rd. The 7 out of the 9 teams below them have losing records.
Yeah.
The defense is what's keeping them in it.
I
They are
completely.
3rd in yards per game, 3rd in passing yards allowed, 3rd in passing yards per game total allowed, 3rd in total points allowed, and 3rd in yards per game allowed. Given the top 2 defenses in the league are the Patriots and the 49ers, who are, by no shortage of the word, putting up historic numbers.
Boogeyman.
The
The
Bills,
Boogeyman.
yeah.
It's so dope. That's so cool.
The Bills would literally be the top defense in the league if these other, if the Patriots and 49ers were putting up historic numbers. The Bills are no team to mess with defensively. But with that being said, like I said before, the offense is awful. And I don't think Josh Allen at this point in his career, and personally, I don't think at any point in his career, I don't think Josh Allen can carry a team to even just a playoff game. I really don't think so.
He hasn't got what it takes.
I don't think so.
He doesn't. I'm with that.
So my out, I think it's the Eagles. So they're in the exact, they're literally in the exact same boat as Panthers right now. However, Panthers have a lot more tools to work with. McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Kyle Allen.
The tools are a little more
Greg
scarce
Olsen.
in Philadelphia.
I agree. They do have
injuries.
I agree.
There's some injuries, but regardless, the arsenal has
Yep.
emptied. Definitely.
They do have a slightly higher chance to make the playoffs with 25%. I do see Wentz seriously declining though. He only has 3 pass touchdowns in his past 3 games, which is not fantastic at all.
I like that you say that.
Nothing to write home about.
Numbers don't lie, man. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna hop into with the Eagles. We're gonna hop into Pats versus
Actually,
Eagles.
I just want to give out some other notable teams that are kind of on the brink of make or break seasons.
Absolutely.
So you got the Rams, who are 3rd in the division at 5-4, behind the Seahawks and 49ers.
Yep.
You have the Chargers, who as I said before, and the AFC West, and the Chargers are 3rd at 4-6. You got the Steelers, who are 2nd and 5-4, and the Bears, who are 3rd and 4-5. All 4 of those teams, I think these next 2 or 3 games, you're
Gonna be
really going to have
so
a better
key.
understanding
So
of where
key.
these teams kind of sit.
And the playoff picture will kind of emerge.
Notice all 4 of those teams either have 4 or 5 wins. So they're right either below or above 500
Yep.
at this point in the season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right, so let's hop into Pats Eagles. Go for it. You had some like key players you want to talk about? Go for it.
Yeah. So just want to put a little disclaimer. Each team is so different, like entirely different. The defense,
Especially
for the
since
Patriots,
the team that we've had, the Eagles team we played in the Super Bowl.
Just look at it 2
very
years
different.
ago. The Patriots' offense was like not a lot better than defense, but it was considerably better.
Mhm.
Now you could make an argument the defense is considerably better than the offense. I mean, that's not too out there.
Yeah, it's not at all.
Carson Wentz is now the quarterback, not Nick Foles.
Mhm.
Right.
The Eagles actually have the highest drop rate of receivers, so
Wow. Okay.
which is kind of a big part that puts them at a disadvantage.
Definitely.
I mean, if you take some of those, if some of those drops don't happen, you might be looking at like a real contender. But right now, I don't know if you can kind of put them in the Super Bowl bubble. The Eagles are at home. With that being said, they have the second highest winning percentage at home at around 77%, which is only second to the Patriots at 80%. And I want to give over 3 players on the Patriots that I think are key players you might want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Collins has career high in sacks and interceptions.
I'm glad he's back.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm
Me
glad
too.
he's back.
Absolutely.
And he's leading the team in tackles. Brady,
Because
obvious reasons.
Time.
And Julian Edelman, he's on pace for 100 catches and 1,000 yards.
He's always someone that has to be good.
I think so, just because
And
he's
he
the
has.
number 1 receiver.
And he
has
has.
been good. And I think this is a huge week just because he has to exploit this awful Eagles secondary. I mean, it's bad.
We got to tear him up. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think if in weeks past, I've said in the podcast, if the run game, you got to persevere. You got to establish a run game. And this week, I'm going to take a complete 180. If the run game isn't working, abandon it. And I'm sticking by that. This is going to be a high-scoring game.
Pats are going to have to abandon the run game because the run game hasn't been working for him. So only averages 3.3 yards and only took 4 carries
yeah,
Not good.
against the Ravens.
Not good.
Not impressive.
No. And I think more to that, the Patriots were behind 17-0 in that game. You can't run it when you're down by 3 scores.
Yeah.
You know? So I understand in that sense why you have to abandon the run game.
100%.
I mean, let's be real. The Patriots just did not. Let's kind of go back into Patriots Ravens for a little while.
Right.
The Patriots looked awful. They really.
They didn't.
They did. If you look at the all right.
especially compared
How
to the
many
other
passing
games
yards?
they played this season.
How many have they played in the other games during
how
the
many,
season?
how many
But-
passing yards did Tom Brady have in the first quarter?
How many?
0. He had 0 passing.
It was
yards.
also 17-0. All I'm saying, dude, is that was
That's 3 possessions.
That's
dude.
right. That was within a 4-point game. We were going down the field. If Edelman didn't fall with that ball, we were going down the field to
Yeah,
go up
agreed.
in that game. Would have completely
Agreed.
changed the dynamic of the game. Completely. Did we not play to our the best of our potential? Absolutely. But was that like, oh, we played awful? No. We just couldn't stop their run game. And I think
which is a
wanna
good
eat my words.
showing of, how are we going to fare against, like, Russell Wilson,
Yeah.
who not only
you've got
can
one
throw
of a few weeks.
and is maybe make a run for MVP. You're bleaching your hair. He can run, too.
he can run. Absolutely.
No.
No?
Wilson can scramble. Wilson cannot run.
He can
Look at
run.
the rushing
He's
yards.
mobile.
I- does not run.
I think
He
I'm
scrambles.
actually with you on that one. I think he can scrambles, too.
Lamar Jackson's a better runner.
He can run.
Lamar Jackson
Yes.
can run. He can, on the 3rd and 5, if there's no one open down the field, Lamar Jackson can pick you up. I'm not saying Russell Wilson can't, but like
He's more.
If you're going to
Lamar
play a
Jackson-
mobile
he's
quarterback,
more of a
you're gonna go with
scramble out and buy
Absolutely.
some more time to throw
to
it
throw.
downfield.
Absolutely.
But
which hate to interrupt the conversation. So is Brady, because if you hear me out,
Brady
if you
can't.
Yeah.
if
He
you
has good
watch
footwork.
He does.
Brady over the past few years, his footwork, as he's got more experience, has gotten considerably better. Want to know why? Because he's old.
he has to.
Because he's old.
He has to.
And he has to in order to survive. He can't just take a beating like Daniel Jones is taking a beating right now
Yeah.
with the Giants O line.
And Deshaun Watson and that offense.
He's got it. He has to scramble to survive. So I think whereas Brady has to scramble from a survival standpoint in order to still be good in this league, which he's the best.
He's okay.
It's just okay.
Just fine.
I think Russell Wilson has that to his advantage where he can use that whenever he wants to,
Yeah,
whereas
agreed.
Brady has to
Okay.
in order to not get
How do Patriot teams
obliterated.
How do Patriot teams win?
Tom.
they wear the other team down.
Sure.
They completely control the game and they wear them down. The Patriots couldn't versus the Ravens. The Patriots had 23 minutes of possession to the Ravens 37.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens had a third more time than the Patriots did. I mean, and that's really what controlled the game. The Patriots were playing from behind, which take away the Patriots versus Falcons game, 28-3 Super Bowl. They're not extremely good at playing from behind. I know Brady has some like crazy comebacks. Don't get me wrong. I don't want hurt me for that. But like,
I'm about to end
right.
this man's whole career.
but like they're not used to it,
Dude.
They're freaking
We're very
crazy.
used to
Right,
winning.
The
We're
Patriots
very
are
used to
insane.
winning.
Sure, but when we're behind, dude, we have no problem getting out of that hole.
They're a second half
Sometimes.
team. I will agree with that, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be on sidetrack. I want to go back onto the Patriots-Eagles game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to now go on some Eagles players you might want to watch.
Okay.
New development. Alshon Jeffrey's out.
He's out.
Not playing in the game.
Yep.
That makes the wide receiver core even less.
That much slimmer.
Puts Jordan Matthews at the number one.
I
number one
didn't even
spot,
think
him or
about it
Aguilar.
like
Him or
that.
Aguilar.
Probably not.
Aguilar drops
Yeah.
the ball a lot.
True.
So I would not be surprised if Jordan Matthews is the number one guy. Yeah, look at him. I mean, he's the
And
number one
Patriots
receiver.
versus the Patriots defense.
Yeah.
Boogeyman.
I also think linebackers, I already had Jamie Collins. The coverage linebackers of the Patriots going to be huge. Because look at the top two weapons. Dallas, is it Goddard, Godare? What, I don't know how you pronounce it. The tight end Dallas for the Philly.
Yep.
And Zach Ertz. Those are the top two guys. I mean, they're top two receiver weapons.
Right.
So you got to shut them down. I think
Absolutely.
Patrick Chung didn't throw him in. I think Patrick Chung's going to have a huge game.
Yeah.
Covering up Zach Ertz. But
I think Ertz is going to want to. Their staff is going to want to use Ertz a lot in this game, and I think Belichick knows that and will
Yeah.
use that to his
He's a
advantage.
king.
Agreed.
He's
Yeah.
a king.
What is Brady kind of scared of?
Getting hit.
Getting hit?
Yeah.
Brandon Graham. His mission,
Yeah.
get to Brady as quick as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he is the man on
Not
the
that Brady
Eagles.
can't take it, but his ability to take it is slowly.
He's old,
Not even
man.
that. It's just like the offensive line is so bad, and I don't even want to get
We've
into
delved
Marshall
into this
Newhouse.
so many times.
Yeah.
Don't even want to get into Marshall
Oh
Newhouse,
my God,
but
he's
like
so bad.
I'm so excited. He's probably a nice guy. I'm so excited this is his last game. I hate that guy in the field.
Yeah.
He is a liability. He's the biggest liability on that 53-man roster. I think Brandon Graham is going to have a huge game. Ronnie McLeod, safety for the Eagles. He's like the only notable guy on defense.
Mm-hmm.
In the secondary, I should say. Their secondary sucks. He has to be the leader. He's got to have, he's going to be the guy who's going to, give the Eagles a chance to win.
Right. So
on defense.
I want to start with the running game, and there's no arguing that the running game is lagging for the Pats. We've talked about this. The running defense for the Eagles has been surprising. They've hit a lot of injuries along the way up front, Malik Jackson being one of the big ones. They've only averaged about 87 yards allowed
Nigel Bradham's also
on
going to
the
be
ground
out.
today. Exactly. But the key to this game is going to be on the passing game with what Patriots receiver?
Muhammad
Mohamed
Yep.
Sanu.
He's gonna have a
100%.
sick game
He hit
this
Sanu
week.
10 times against the Ravens, including a
Yeah.
touchdown.
He's
Super
another guy
underrated.
always targeted on the outside. Eagles struggle with that a lot. And
Yeah,
just
he's
their
he's
secondary in
outside the
general.
stripes.
Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, and Brady has been having trouble getting pressured in the pocket, so Sanu and, of course, Edelman, who I've said is consistent.
Of
663 yards for
I think
4
four
touchdowns this year. It gives Brady a security blanket in his receivers. He needs those extra guys, and he's not passing to your local Walmart guy. Do you know what I mean?
Local
And-
Walmart guy.
Which he could turn into.
Exactly. And there are train wrecks in the Eagles secondary. They allow for 239 passing yards per game and have allowed 14 passing touchdowns. And they're ranked 23 out of 32 overall in their secondary. I think the key is going to be the running game for the Pats. They need to step it up, and Brady slinging the ball to Sanu to win this game.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah,
Let's
Eagles
hop
allow the
into-
fourth least rushing yards, 87 per game.
Yeah.
That's not a whole lot.
Absurd. I think we're hopping in top three.
Top 3, let's
Three.
do it,
Top
man.
three.
round it up,
This
all
week's
right.
top three is top 3 fast foods.
Okay.
Michael, start it off.
Ooh, all right. Number 3. I'll go Burger King.
Okay.
You're ridiculous.
Burger King
that's
number
You're
three.
ridiculous.
absurdity.
Do you try the Impossible Burger?
I can't say.
It's meh.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Extremely
Number
mad.
2, gotta go McDanks.
McStanks.
McDonald's
Respectable.
going
Yep.
number 2, and number 1. I think it's Chick-fil-A. I don't know
I
how you
agree.
can disagree
You
with
can't
Chick-fil-A.
disagree with
I agree.
that. My top 3 is going to be if you're looking for nugs,
Strictly no.
just nugs, like you are craving a fat nug, you go McDanks. There's
Obviously.
no McDanks.
Yes.
If this was a ranking for McDanks.
Mm-hmm.
Fast foods, number 3, it's gonna catch you off with a little surprise. KFC. I love KFC.
I'd like to change
I have
my
not.
Yeah!
I have not been on
Let's
KFC in
go.
a while, and I kind of miss.
Smacks.
Fearing having a heart attack every time I walk in there and consume
Number
their food.
2 is gonna be Wendy's. The Wendy's
I was
season
debating
5.
Wendy's.
Dude, a faux. Oh, they're really good. And number 1, Chick-fil-A. You can't
Absolutely.
beat that.
All right, so I have McDonald's as a 3rd.
Okay.
Like I said, just nugs.
Nugs, man.
Enough
Nugs.
said.
Nugs.
Enough said.
Enough said.
Second, Five Guys.
I like that.
That was slept on.
I like that.
Five Guys.
Nice. Good
Okay.
answer.
Because so I was thinking about fast food and like the definition of fast food in general, and typically,
It doesn't have to have a.
We're
have
gonna
a- it doesn't have
define-
to- Yeah, does
It
it
doesn't
have to have a drive-through?
Oh, God.
I mean that's what I was thinking. Then I was
We've
thinking,
been way
wait,
too
but
analytical.
Five Guys is
Any
fast
more
food.
facts. On average.
And then number 1, I agree, Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Michael, 2-minute warning.
All right.
Let's sum up.
Yeah.
Let's sum it up. So, we went off with Q&A.
Awesome. Hands for
Hands and
feet.
feet.
Feet for hands.
Hopped into A and B. I'm still sticking to Cam Newton on the
Bears.
Bears. That's
I got Broncos, man.
I was at Browns for a second.
Yeah.
One start and one sit 'em. Cook and the Rams wide receivers.
Allen and Goff.
Hope you might think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Our picks, just
Mhm.
think about it.
Got some locks.
Yeah, locks underdog game of the week. I agree with all the locks we had.
I like our locks.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I don't know how you can really disagree with a lock. I mean,
It's a lock.
Well, it's an underdog.
Yeah.
yeah, underdog. After we talked about the Rams afterwards and the Bears afterwards, I'm kind of disagreeing with mine a little bit. Might want to go Rams over Bears, but
Okay.
we'll save that. In and Out, I love the new segment.
This was
Me
fun.
too.
I really
loved it.
enjoyed it, boys.
Really enjoyed
Awesome,
it. Ton of
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
We might have to visit that like week 15ish.
I like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
we might
3
revisit
more
this.
games. Might revisit it. Patriots Eagles. Big game.
Big game.
Big game.
It's important for
I
the
say the
Pats.
Yes
Pats
or no
take it.
question. Yes or no question. No analysis. Is this a must-win game?
No.
Top 3 Red Sox moments. We didn't even hit.
We
that.
can get away with losing.
Yes.
We
Okay.
definitely
I
will.
agree with that. Yeah.
That's
I think
it.
that sums it up. I think that sums it up.
Hey, what up, boys?
This wraps up episode 4 of 401. I'm Neil,
I'm Pat.
I'm Michael.
and we'll catch you next week.
Hey, what up, boys? Let's go! Let's go! Awesome. Let's go.
Let's go.
Nice.